Get ready! These riddles will show you how attentive you are and how sharp your eyesight is. Let's rock it!
Yeah!
Esme, Evelyn, and Elise are drinking coffee. Ava, Ella, and Emma are drinking soda. Is Esther going to drink coffee or soda? Esther is going to drink coffee. The letter E in her name is used twice, just like in the names of the other coffee drinkers. Here's a tough question. Look at the picture and choose what or who you'll say first. You should save your family first. In any family, there are several people. They can help you save the rest of the people and the money. Look at these pictures. There's something wrong in one of them. Can you figure out what it is? This woman is eating the soup with a fork. Well, that's not a very successful strategy. Let's look at this picture. At first, there may seem like there's nothing in it but 3 bright stripes of different colors. But if you squint, you might find something else there. Have you spotted several faint numbers in the image? They are 55, 37, and 22. What do you think? Who's in greater danger here? It's the woman. If the man doesn't provoke the sharks, they might just circle him a few times and swim away. Or they might not be interested in humans altogether. But the flames won't be so hesitant. Stephen's family was away for the weekend. When they came back, they found Stephen injured and unconscious in the living room. The maid said she had been cleaning the house all morning and then had taken a nap in the afternoon. The cook told the police he had been making a food inventory in the afternoon. And the driver said he had been away, driving the kids to a museum. Who has something to do with the accident? It's the driver. The whole family, including the kids, were away on the weekend. He couldn't have driven them anywhere. Now, are you witty enough to crack the following riddle? What tastes like an apple but is green in color? It's a green apple. Nothing less, nothing more. How many letters are there in the vowels? There are 9 letters. Count yourself. The vowels. Mary went to a massage spa to have let's assume it's a massage. Great choice. She was having such a great time that she dozed off. When it was time to pay, the woman found out that her money was missing. There were 3 people who could have taken the money. The first employee said she had been having her lunch at the back of the salon. The second employee claimed she had gone to the back of the storage to get some oil. And another customer explained that she had been waiting for her turn to get a massage. Who is lying? The second employee. Why would she need to go to the storage if she has a few bottles of oils right there? Which banana, in your opinion, is the best and ready to be eaten? You should pick banana number 4. It's ripe and yellow, and there are no brown spots on it yet. Uncle Jack had a huge problem. His farm had experienced a terrible downpour, and now all but 15 pigs were missing and couldn't be found. How many pigs were still in the barn? $15. Hannah told her mom that her gymnastics team would be going to a sports camp for the weekend. Her mother thought it was a lie, and Hannah would spend the weekend with her boyfriend instead. And still, she helped her daughter pack her bag and didn't say a word. When Hannah came back from her weekend away, she complained to her mom that she had forgotten to pack a toothbrush. That's when her mother made sure Hannah was lying. But how did she understand it? The woman put a toothbrush inside Hannah's rolled-up sports clothes. If the girl had indeed gone camping, she would have unpacked these clothes and found the toothbrush. Can you figure out what is dark but made by light? It's a shadow, a dark area that only appears when there's a source of light. Buckets, barrels, baskets, cans. What can you fill with empty hands? Well, if your hands are empty, you can only fill gloves. Look at these women. Who is the baby's mother? It's the woman on the right. Have you noticed diapers lying in the corner? Now pay attention to these people and to what they're doing. Can you figure out which one of them is left-handed? It's the waitress. She serves with her left hand. That's why she needs to hold the tray with her right hand. Oliver was on his way to another city. It was late evening, and at some point, the man felt tired and sleepy. He immediately stopped at the nearest hotel and went inside. While the receptionist was looking for an available room, Oliver saw a breakfast flyer with delicious-looking fried eggs on it. Excuse me, could I probably have 4 fried eggs right now?" The receptionist wasn't sure about that. Our cook brought 8 eggs in the morning. He broke 3 and fried 3. Were there enough eggs left for Oliver? The cook broke 3 eggs and cooked them. It leaves us with 5 extra eggs, which should be more than enough for Oliver. Some people hate it and some love it. It changes people's thoughts and appearances. If a person takes care of themselves, it goes higher. Some people manage to hide it. Others try but fail. But whatever people do, it never goes down. What is it? It's their age. When Matt was 8 years old, he hammered a nail into his favorite tree in the garden to mark his height. Then his family moved away, and he couldn't check how fast he was growing anymore. 10 years later, at the age of 18, Matt decided to come back to find the tree. If the tree grows 2 inches a year, how much higher is the nail now? The nail's going to be at the same height. Trees grow at their tops, not bottoms. Why are pianos so hard to open? The keys are inside. Mike was on his way to visit his grandma, who lived on the other side of the valley. It was her anniversary, so he wanted to give her the cakes he had made. Between Mike's house and her house, the guy had to cross 5 bridges, and as it was in the land of make-believe, there was a troll under every bridge. Each troll insisted that Mike pay a troll toll. Before the guy could cross the bridge, he had to give them half of the cakes he was carrying. But since they were kind trolls, each of them gave Mike back an entire cake. How many cakes did Mike have to take with him to make sure that he arrived at his grandma's house with exactly 2 cakes? Mike needs to take 2 cakes. At each bridge, he's required to give half of his cakes, and he receives 1 back, which leaves him with 2 cakes after every bridge. Mr. Brown opened a newspaper in the morning and saw a headline, "Workers want to make less money." He was confused until he read the article. What was going on? The workers who wanted to make less money worked at the mint and were tired of being overworked. They wanted to work less, which would mean making less money since money is made at a mint. A frog is at the bottom of a well. To get out of it, it needs to climb 30 feet. Each morning, the frog jumps 3 feet up the path, but each night, as it sleeps, it slips 2 feet back down. Thus, at the beginning of the first day, the frog has 30 feet to go. At the beginning of the second day, it has 29 feet to go, and so on. How many days will it take the frog to get out of the well? It'll take 28 days for the frog to get out. In other words, it will get out on the morning of the 28th day. This is because at the beginning of this day, the frog has 3 feet left to travel. And since the frog jumps 3 feet forward each morning, it will jump out of the well on this day. Read it?
Take a look at this image for a second. Which prisoner do you think is rich? Let's see. It can't be the first guy since his food is partially rotten. It looks like the other inmates don't really like him, and he doesn't have a lot of power inside the prison. The second guy, while he looks super wealthy, his jewelry is actually fake. This leaves us with the last guy, and bingo! It's him! Look, he's got a laptop under his plate and a phone under his arm. He's the richest for sure. Susie was invited to take part in a pop-up riddle show. She needed to answer one question correctly to win $1,000. She was extremely nervous when the game show host asked her this question. How many numbers are on a clock? Can you help Susie figure out this one? The answer looks obvious, but it's not. You need to do some math. The correct answer is 15. It doesn't work if you simply stare at the clock and say there are 12 numbers. You see, the numbers 10, 11, and 12 are made up of smaller numerical numbers, so the correct way to count it would be in a clockwise fashion. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, 1, and 1. Phew! A local thief was running around playing tricks on some neighborhood stores. On a Saturday morning, he walked inside Mrs. Buchanan's shop and stole a $100 bill from the counter when she wasn't looking. He grabbed a shopping cart and filled it with $70 worth of goods. He paid for everything with the $100 bill he had stolen and even got $30 back as change. How much money did the store owner lose in all of this? The shop owner just lost $100. I know it sounds too simple, but here's the deal. In total, the store owner lost $70 worth of merchandise, plus the $30 she gave as change. So yes, she lost $100. Maya was roaming through the multiverses when she ran into a gatekeeper guarding a green door. She said she needed to go through the door in order to access her original timeline, but the gatekeeper would only let through those who answered his riddle. He told her that some things can go through the green door while others cannot, and she needed to figure out what all of the things had in common. And then he tells her, "You can come through the door with a carton of eggs, but not with a box of donuts. You can pass through it with a gallon of skim milk, but not a quart of it. You can bring with you some bamboo, but not jade, orchids, philodendron, or ivy. Sadly, you can't come through with dogs and cats unless they're still puppies and kittens." Can you help Maya figure out the pattern in common with all of these things? Well, the key to solving this riddle can be found in all 4 of the words that make up the phrase green glass door, aka double letters. If something is spelled with double letters, it can go through the green glass door. If there are no double letters in its name, then it can't. Mark went to the farmer's market to do his weekly grocery shopping. He stopped by the egg stand, and the owner was feeling chatty, so he challenged Mark to guess the answer to a riddle. He told Mark,
"If I had 4 eggs and a thief gave me 3, and my rooster laid 5 more, how many eggs do I have?"
Can you help Mark figure out the answer here? I'll get one thing out of the way. It's not a simple math problem. It doesn't work if you just add everything up. But here's the first problem. Roosters don't lay eggs, so those eggs are out of the equation. And then if you read correctly, the man said, "If I had 4 eggs," which means that he had 0 eggs to begin with. So the correct answer is 3. The 3 eggs that the thief gave him. 4 prisoners from a high-security prison were taken to a deserted beach to do some community service. The warden wanted to have some fun, so he lined them up in a single-file line and separated prisoner A from the other 3 with the help of a brick wall. He gave each prisoner a hat, either black or white, without telling them which color they each got. In total, there were 2 black hats and 2 white hats. He told them that all prisoners would be sentenced to prison for life, except they could guess correctly which color of hat they had in under 10 minutes. The prisoners weren't allowed to confer with each other, and they weren't allowed to move around or change positions. They got super nervous, of course, but they had no other option than to play the game. Luckily, just before the clock struck 10 minutes, one of the prisoners guessed correctly their hat color. Can you guess which prisoner it was? P.S. There is only one correct answer. If you guessed prisoner C, then you got it right. Let's see why. This riddle can only be solved through a process of elimination, and two of the prisoners, prisoners A and B, can be eliminated right off the bat. That's because neither one of them can see any of the other prisoners, so neither possesses any information with which to make a more certain guess. That just leaves us prisoners C and D. When prisoner D remains silent and doesn't take a guess, prisoner C deduces his own hair color. He deduces that he and prisoner B must be wearing different colored hats. And since prisoner B was wearing a white hat, he guessed he is wearing a black hat. Yikes! This fried my hat off. Betty was in her last year of high school and she decided to take photography as an extracurricular activity. For her latest assignment, she needed to take an urban picture and present it to the class. However, since Betty was also organizing a big graduation trip, she didn't have time to do the assignment. Instead, she decided to Photoshop an image and show it in class. The teacher and students immediately saw that the picture wasn't real. How could they tell? Well, because that person over there has two heads. It looks pretty cool, but that's kind of a difficult phenomenon to find here on this planet. Three people decided to spend their vacations in Antarctica. Bianca had some trouble with the harsh weather, but felt it was worth it in the end. Pablo had a great time photographing the penguins for his social media page. And Helena got to do some fishing while she was there. On the last day of their trip, passing through airport security, one of them got caught trying to take a penguin with them in their backpack. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who it was? Let's see what we have here. Well, is that a penguin's feet poking out of Helena's backpack? It sure is. Guess she did more than just fishing during her vacation. Yikes! Fifth of December is Bloomfield Town's Contest Day. For this year, the mayor picked bakery as the theme, so contestants needed to bake the best dessert to win. The only rule was that the bakers couldn't use sugar in their recipes, only natural sweeteners. When the mayor went to judge the four finalists and pick the best dessert, he immediately disqualified one of the bakers, saying they had cheated. And he did that without even tasting the desserts. Take a look at the contestants and see if you can spot the cheater. Look at the third woman in the row. Her cake is literally covered in powdered sugar. She was disqualified because she broke the no sugar rule.
Well, have you been looking for a chance to put on your detective hat? Well, here you go. A new portion of tricky riddles to sharpen your mind.
Yeah.
Melissa met her guest who came to her birthday party. Catherine came before Bob, Aaron after Rainan. Bob arrived before Rainan, and Timothy came after Aaron. So, which guest arrived last? Timothy was the last one to come. Now let's say you have two jugs. One of them holds exactly 3 gallons of water and the other holds 5 gallons. With the help of just these two jugs and a fire hose, how can you measure out exactly 4 gallons of water? Fill the 5-gallon jug to the top. Then pour it into the 3-gallon jug until it's full. You now have 2 gallons of water remaining in the 5-gallon jug. Pour out the water from the 3-gallon jug and then pour the 2 gallons from the 5-gallon jug into the 3-gallon one. Finally, fill the 5-gallon jug to the top and pour it into the 3-gallon jug until it's full. There was only enough space left for 1 more gallon in the 3-gallon jug, so you now have exactly 4 gallons in the 5-gallon jug. Look at this image attentively and try to find a mistake. There's no river on the other side of the bridge. Where does it disappear? Now, look at these men very closely. Can you figure out which of them is a fake doctor? The doctor on the left may be wearing casual clothes, but he has his badge on, which probably means he was called to work urgently and didn't have time to change. He's also holding a stethoscope. The doctor in the middle is holding a spoon. But even though it looks suspicious, he has just given a child patient some cough syrup. You can also see a badge on his uniform. As for the man on the right, he's not a doctor. There's no badge on his uniform. And if you examine him more attentively, you'll notice the police uniform under his white coat. He's most likely a police officer undercover. Christy poured herself a full cup of tea and drank half of it. Then she filled the cup with milk. Then she drank half of the drink again. Then she refilled it with milk again and drank the rest of it. Can you figure out if Christy drank more tea or more milk? She drank the same amount of tea and milk. Look, Christy ended up drinking all her tea since the cup was eventually empty. Christy refilled the milk 2 times, and every time it was half a cup of milk, totally a full cup of milk. Deceptor, a famous magician, announced that he could throw a ping-pong ball in such a way that it would go a short distance, come to a complete stop, and go in the opposite direction. He also clarified that he wouldn't bounce the ball off of any object or tie anything to it, and indeed, he managed to perform the trick. How did he do it? He threw the ball straight up into the air. Can you name 4 days of the week that start with the letter T? These days are Tuesday, Thursday, today, and tomorrow. Now, listen up. All statements are true except one. 3 days ago was not Friday. The day after tomorrow will be Saturday. Tomorrow is not Wednesday. In 5 days, it's a day off. Yesterday was not Saturday. So the question is, what day of the week is today? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday? It's Thursday. Let's see how we can figure it out. 3 days ago was not Friday. If this statement is true, then today is not Monday. The day after tomorrow will be Saturday. If it's true, then today is Thursday. Tomorrow is not Wednesday. Then today is not Tuesday. It's a day off in 5 days. If this statement was true, today would be Monday or Tuesday. But in this case, the statement contradicts the first and third ones. It must be false. Yesterday was not Saturday. It means that today is not Sunday. Based on all this, we can conclude that today is Thursday. There were 2 plastic jugs filled with water. Can you put all the water into one barrel without using any dividers and still tell which water comes from which jug? You can do it by freezing the water in one or both jugs and then cutting the plastic away, leaving only the ice. After that, you can put the chunks of ice into the barrel. This way, you'll be able to tell which water comes from which jug. A farmer in Florida owns a beautiful pear tree. He supplies fruit to a nearby grocery store. One day, the store owner calls the farmer to check how much fruit is available for him to buy. The farmer knows that the main trunk has 24 branches. Each branch has 12 boughs, and each bough has 6 twigs. Since each twig bears one piece of fruit, how many plums will the farmer be able to sell? Unfortunately, none. At least not from this tree. A pear tree doesn't produce plums. You have 5 jars with pills. Each pill weighs 10 grams, except for contaminated pills contained in one jar. There, each pill weighs 9 grams. You have a scale, but can you tell which jar has the contaminated pills after making just one measurement? To find the contaminated pills, you should follow the following steps. Take out 1 pill from jar number 1, 2 pills from jar number 2, 3 pills from jar number 3, 4 pills from jar number 4, and 5 pills from jar number 5. Put all these 15 pills on the scale. The correct weight should be 150 grams. But since one of the jars has contaminated pills, the weight will definitely be less than 150 grams. If the weight is 149 grams, then jar number 1 has the contaminated pills, because there is only one pill like that. If the weight is 148 grams, then the contaminated pills are in jar number 2. If the weight is 147 grams, the contaminated pills are in jar number 3, and so on. Many years ago, one guy was captured by an evil witch who kept him in her house. There was a cellar door in the house, and the witch warned the guy not to open it because he was not ready to see what was behind it. Can you guess what was on the other side of the door that the witch didn't want the guy to see? The guy was actually locked in the cellar, and on the other side of the door was the rest of the house and the outside world. The witch just didn't want the guy to escape. One day, a boss told his employees, "I can fight and beat any man who works here." A new employee, a tall ex-prize fighter, decided to challenge the boss. Interestingly, the boss won the bet, even though he didn't defeat the man. What did the boss do? Not to lose face, he fired the new employee on the spot. This way, when he defeated the boss, he wasn't working in the company anymore. Marty and Jill wanted to copy 3 60-minute tapes. They have 2 tape recorders that will dub the tapes for them, so they can do 2 at a time. It takes 30 minutes for each side to complete. Therefore, in 1 hour, 2 tapes will be completed, and in another hour, the third will be done. Jill says all 3 tapes can be finished in 90 minutes. Can you figure out how it is possible? Let's call the tapes 1, 2, and 3 with sides A and B. In the first 30 minutes, the guys will work with 1A and 2A. In the second 30 minutes, they will record 1B and 3A. Now, tape 1 is completed. Finally, in the last half hour, they will do tape 2B and 3B.
Neil was one of the best watchmakers in town. He got a call from the police station one day, asking him for help to solve a crime. 2 burglars were caught robbing shops in town. Amongst the things they stole, there were 2 watches. One of the burglars claimed that the watch they stole was a fake, so the police contacted Neil to see if that was really true. Take a look at both watches. Can you help Neil figure out which one is fake and which one is real? The watch on the left is a fake. If you look closely, you'll see that the miniature arm is too long, so it can't pass around the entire clock when it moves. Maya was an undercover police officer. On a Saturday night, she was off duty and decided to go to the movies. When she arrived, she saw 2 women who looked pretty suspicious. She remembered that the police were tracking down a girl who had escaped from prison the week before. Take a look at both women. Can you tell if one has escaped prison recently? It's the lady on the left. Her prison uniform is peeking through her coat. I mean, she should have at least changed clothes by now, right? Beth arrived at school and one of her best friends showed her a picture. She told Beth that if she got the answer correctly, she would get a week's supply of free chocolate. The friend said that one of the people in the picture wasn't human. Can you help Beth figure out the answer? It's the boy in the middle. He doesn't have a shadow, which means he's definitely not human. Ruby was traveling around India when she decided to stop for some tea. As soon as she walked inside the tea shop, the owner placed 2 teapots in front of her. He told her she would get a free cup of tea if she could figure out his riddle. He told her that the first teapot contained enough tea for 40 cups and asked to figure out, just by looking at the pot, how many cups of tea it could carry inside. Take a look at the image. Can you help Ruby figure out the answer? This is a tricky one. Probably the second teapot can only carry around 20 cups of tea. If you look closely, you'll see that the outlets of the first teapot is located in the middle of the pot. But the outlet of the second pot is located right at the bottom, so even if the pot is taller, it can't hold more water than the first one. After water hits the level of the outlet, it'll just start overflowing. Mary was walking in an enchanted forest when she met Randy, a magical unicorn. Mary asked the unicorn for some information, but he refused to talk to her unless she solved one of his riddles. He was a trickster and liked confusing people with his riddles. He told Mary that in a nearby field there were tigers and sheep. Usually one tiger could catch 3 sheep in 3 minutes. So he asked her how long it would take for 100 tigers to catch 100 sheep. Can you help Mary figure out the answer? It would still take 3 minutes, because each tiger is still catching 1 sheep in 3 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's 3 tigers or 100. The unicorn was surprised by Mary's abilities and gave her another riddle to solve. He asked her to name the 5 days of the week without saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. She also couldn't say whether it was the first day of the week or the last. What do you think Mary answered here? She said, the day before yesterday, yesterday, today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. Clever girl, huh? Brianna was traveling on business, and her company put her in one of the best hotels in town. She arrived from work late at night, exhausted. She was getting ready to go to bed when she heard a knock on the door. When she looked through the peephole, she saw a man standing outside. The man said he was sorry for bothering her, but the hotel database had crashed and he needed to recheck some of her information. Brianna said she would be back in a moment, got away from the door, and called security. She said there was someone in the hotel trying to rob her. Take a look at the image. How did she know the man was a robber? Look at the man's name tag. It's a female name. He is surely not the real hotel manager. Luca decided to throw a party for his best friends. He invited over 20 people to the party, but he only bought 9 candies. He told his friends he would leave the candies inside a pretty little box, and they could each get 1 candy. 9 people took 9 candies, but 1 candy was still in the box. How could that be possible? It's pretty simple. The last person took the candy and the box. This way, 1 candy remained in the box. Noah reported to the police that someone had stolen his red motorbike the previous night, right out of his garage. The police started to search for it and tracked 3 main suspects. Take a look at them. Which one stole Noah's motorbike? It's this guy on the right. Look closely. His motorbike is painted, but the paint is dripping and one can spot the old red color. He must have stolen it and painted it in a different color so as not to attract any attention. But you caught him. It's the finale of the Big Money Buzz Show, and Natalie is faced with a difficult task. There are 3 fish bowls, each one of them containing a different amount of gold bars inside. If she manages to put her hand inside one of the bowls and take it out, she can keep the gold bar. The first bowl has scalding hot water inside of it. The second is filled with flesh-burning acid. And the last bowl has a couple of venomous scorpions walking around. Which bowl should she choose? Natalie should just wait until the water cools down and grab the gold bar from the first bowl. Smart, huh? Bobby was blindfolded and put into a shaky van. When he woke up, he was alone in a dark, empty room. There was nobody there, but there were 3 envelopes on the floor. A post-it on top of the envelope said, "Each envelope contains a red capsule and 2 statements. In one of these envelopes, both statements are false. In another envelope, both statements are true. You have to choose the correct capsule to get out of this alive." He opened the first envelope, saw a capsule and the message, 1. Don't eat this candy. 2. Take the candy from the second envelope. On the second envelope, the note said, 1. Don't take the candy from the first envelope. 2. Take the candy from the third envelope. And the last envelope said, 1. Don't eat this candy. 2. Take the candy from the first envelope. Which capsule should Bobby take? He should trust the candy from the third envelope. Let's see why. The first message of the first envelope is true, while the second is false. Both messages from the second envelope are true. This leaves us with 2 false statements on the third envelope. The manager of a gift shop got a call from the police station. The police told him there was a burglar on the loose. He dressed up as the Joker and was robbing local shops. But since it was Halloween, a lot of people were walking dressed up as the Joker. At that moment, 4 Jokers entered the shop. The manager got suspicious, so he made the people stand in a line while he examined which one of them was the criminal. Take a look at the image. Can you guess which Joker is the real thief? The thief is the second Joker on the left. Take a look at his shoes. They're much bigger than the other shoes. He must be hiding something inside of it.
Get ready for a tough but very fun riddles competition. Yeah! Take whatever helps you activate your logical skills. A magnifying glass, a deerstalker hat, or a notebook. And let's get rolling. Let's warm up with some easy stuff. Can you find a vampire among these emojis? Here it is. Ugh, creepy. How about this crowd of people? Can you spot a vampire hiding among them? It is this girl. Look at how sharp her teeth are. And one more riddle for you. Which of these people is a vampire? See those fang marks on the neck of that guy? He was bitten and has already turned into a vampire himself. Stephen was found unconscious in his living room on a Sunday evening. Someone had hit him on the head. The man was rushed to a hospital while the police started questioning the suspects. There were 3 of them: Stephen's ex-wife, his neighbor, and his younger brother. Stephen's ex-wife said she'd been walking in the park with her little niece all day. Stephen's neighbor said she'd wanted to go on a date with her boyfriend, but since it had been raining heavily, they decided to stay at home. And Stephen's younger brother said he'd been at work, finishing a large project. It was so important he had to work even on weekends. The police figured out who the attacker was quite fast. Can you do the same? It was Stephen's ex-wife. It had been raining heavily all day long. Who would walk in the park with a little kid in such weather? A criminal has kidnapped your friend and tied him to a tree. A huge, vicious dog is guarding this tree. You need to save your friend at night. But when you come to that place, you only have 1 piece of meat with you. It's not big enough to distract the dog for the 3 minutes you need to cut the ropes and help your friend escape. How can you solve this problem? Cut the meat into small pieces and throw them all over the garden. And while the dog is distracted, set your friend free. One day, Amy went on a date with her boyfriend Joe to a nice restaurant. Joe gave her flowers and candy. They had a great meal and enjoyed the date. But in the morning, Amy woke up with a severe allergic reaction. She went to the hospital, where she was told that she had been poisoned. But to figure out what antidote Amy needed, it was crucial to understand the source of the poison. The detective invited to investigate the case questioned everyone who could poison the girl, her boyfriend, the cook, and Amy's friend Cindy. Joe said that they'd eaten the same food in the restaurant. The cook said that he had brought Amy her pizza, and it had been freshly made. And Cindy said she thought Amy's boyfriend had poisoned her. She added that he had asked her what flowers Amy liked to gain Amy's trust. Have you realized who poisoned the girl? It was Cindy. Have you noticed the book on her table? It was about poisonous flowers. She advised Joe to give Amy flowers that would cause health problems. One company organized a betting game where 1 red and 1 blue marble were placed in a dark box. If a player picked the blue marble, the company had to pay them $5,000. But if the player guessed it wrong, they had to pay the company $100. The company cheated by always putting in the box 2 red marbles instead of 1 red and 1 blue, but no one could prove it. Mark was observing people lose one after another. Then he took part in the game and won. How did he do it? The man picked a marble and quickly put it in his mouth without showing the thing to anyone else. The remaining marble was red. According to the rules, it meant that Mark's marble was blue. The company had to pay him the money. Now, you need to pay attention to every little detail. Can you figure out whose dog it is? Look at that guy wearing a red jacket. See that leash he's holding? It matches the dog's collar, so most likely he's the owner. This parrot has managed to sneak away from its owner, and now the vet is looking for them. Can you say whose bird this is? The owner is that woman sitting on the couch. There's a cage behind her. Another waiting room at the vet. And whose Sphinx cat is this cutie? See that guy waiting for the doctor to bring back his pet? He's surrounded by lots of furry animals and can't stop sneezing. He must be allergic to fur. That's why he got himself a Sphinx kitty. And whose horse is this? See that girl standing in line? She's the only one wearing riding boots. She must be the owner. These kids seem to be terrified. No wonder. See that white rat darting around the classroom? Who does it belong to? It's that girl who's checking her backpack. You can see a cage and some rodent food inside. Oh, look at this cutie. What do you think? Who does this mini pig belong to? This guy is the owner. His outfit matches the scarf the pig is wearing. How sweet is that? And whose hedgehog is this? This lady is the owner. She's wearing special gloves to handle the animal.
Yes!
And who does this absolutely adorable pug belong to? Its owner is this guy. If you look attentively, you'll notice a pug tattoo on his leg. Lily came home and saw her favorite vase shattered. Extremely upset, she exclaimed, "What's happened to my vase?" Her husband Sam explained that around lunchtime, he heard a loud crash from their bedroom. He rushed there and saw that Lily's expensive vase had been broken, and a robber was running away. Sam followed the man outside, but his glasses got foggy because of the cold weather. That's why he missed the man. Lily called the police, but after police officers heard the whole story, they refused to investigate this case. Why? Glasses fog up when you enter a warm place, not vice versa. Sam invented the story because he was afraid to admit he had been the one to break the vase.
Oh.
Emma's husband Liam knew his wife had been dreaming of going to an archaeological site. One day, she told him about the perfect opportunity. There was a remote site ready to be excavated, but there was no internet or network connection there. She would have to camp in a tent with almost no modern conveniences. But since she was really excited about this trip, Liam was ready to wait for her at home. 2 days later, Liam received a message and a photo from Emma. The man got furious. He realized Emma had been lying about the whole thing. How did he understand it? Before leaving, Emma told her husband there was no internet connection or cell phone reception there. Then how did she manage to send him the photo? Several bank workers visited a canteen in their office building. Since it was the Riddle Day, Matthew, Isaac, and Wyatt were served tea, and Hunter, Christian, and Nathan drank coffee. What drink did Aaron get? Aaron drank tea simply because of his double-letter name. A man with a bandage around his head came to a police station. I was hitchhiking when a car stopped. The driver asked me to check if one of the tires was flat. I bent over to look, and he hit me on the head. When I regained consciousness, I found out he had taken all my money and smartphone. I only remember that the guy had a big car, large eyebrows, and a mustache. Soon the police had a suspect. They found him in a cafe, but this man said it couldn't be him. He changed the tires on his car 2 weeks ago. And since then, the car had been parked near the cafe, but the detective realized the man was lying right away. How? There's a no parking sign near the cafe. No car could be staying there for 2 weeks. Isabella is standing behind Mia, but at the same time, Mia is also standing behind Isabella. How is it possible? The girls are standing with their backs turned toward each other. Mrs. Red was a big boss in a large company. Recently, she hired a few new employees. One day, her assistant was filling out their documents and found something strange.
What?
She informed Mrs. Red that one of the new employees seemed to have fake documents. But the boss was in a hurry and told the assistant that she'd have a look at the papers the next day.
Yeah.
But the next day, Mrs. Red found out that her assistant was in a hospital, unconscious.
Oh my god.
Someone had attacked her on her way to work. Mrs. Red hurried to check the new employee's documents, look at them and try to figure out which ID is fake. This ID card claims that Edward is 34 years old, but the man using this document is way older.
Oh.
It was an extremely hot day. Police Officer Black was driving along a countryside road. Suddenly, he noticed a hitchhiker on the side of the road and stopped to give him a ride. The man explained that he had been waiting for someone to pick him up for more than 2 hours and offered the officer some ice cream. Black refused and asked the guy about a gang of criminals who had just robbed a jewelry store. The hitchhiker exclaimed, "I've just seen a red car speeding past me. Must have been the robbers, but they were driving in the opposite direction. We'll need to turn back." Black didn't believe him and took him to the police station. How did the police officer guess the hitchhiker was a criminal? If the hitchhiker had indeed been standing on the side of the road for 2 hours, the ice cream would have already melted. So, he lied to lead Black the wrong way. Oliver has in mind one of 3 numbers: 1, 2, or 3. Charlotte is allowed to ask him just one question to figure out which number it is. Oliver can answer her question only with no, yes, and I can't say. Which question should Charlotte ask? She can say, "I have the number 1 or 2 in mind. Is your number larger than my number?" If Oliver answers yes, it means he's chosen 3. If he answers, "I can't say," the number he has in mind is 2. And if he says no, his number is 1. Several people were asked to step over a pencil lying on the floor, but none of them managed to do it. Why? The pencil was placed near the wall. Who doesn't like rebus puzzles? They're fun, and I've got a few tricky ones for you. Enjoy! What does it mean? It's misunderstood. Try to crack this one. So we see pot and 8 O's. Together, they make potatoes. And how about this one? That's high five. A small hint. The arrangement of these letters is important. This rebus means, hurry up! And one more puzzle for you. What could it mean? It's a friend in need. A hungry vampire is following you on a deserted street one dark night. Suddenly, you see a house with its door open and hide there. The vampire can't enter your shelter, but is patiently waiting outside. However, you still have some hope. There are 3 tunnels leading out of the house. But inside the first tunnel, there is molten lava. The walls of the second tunnel keep closing every 10 seconds, crushing everything that gets inside. And the floorboards of the third tunnel collapse every 5 seconds, sending everything lying on them into an abyss. What should you do? Just wait till the morning. Vampires can't stand daylight, and your pursuer will have to leave you alone.
Yes!
Hello there, Brightsiders! These riddles are gonna be a bit different than usual. No witches, detectives, or whatever. Let's go! Take a look at this pic. On the left, you've got a set of words. They're not linked to each other in any way. On the right, you've got a set of weirdly shaped geometrical objects. Your task is to match each word to the corresponding objects. Alrighty, let's see the answers. Voila! Let me break it down for you. It's necessary to look for external similarities between words and pictures. This is called word recognition. We recognize words as a whole, not by individual letters. Easier to spot spelling errors. That's why we can read abbreviations. We recognize familiar words even if letters are missing. Next one. You gotta use your math skills here. So, in front of you lies a whole treasure. 10 bags, each of which contains 1,000 coins. 9 sacks contain real gold coins, and 1 contains extremely fake ones. A real gold coin weighs 5 grams, while a fake one weighs 4 grams. How to determine in one weighing on the scales which of the bags contains fake coins? The scales are accurate, but there is only one approach to them. Here's the right approach. We take 1 coin from the first bag, 2 from the second, 3 from the third, and so on, up to 10 coins. Weigh these 55 coins. Gold coins could weigh 275 grams. If 1 gram is missing, then fake coins are in the first bag. If 2 grams are missing, then fake coins are in the second bag, and so on. It's curious that this task is easily scalable. The number of bags is not important. At least 3, at least 1,000, everything is solved by 1 weighing. This riddle got pretty viral on TikTok, but in case you missed it, you can try to solve it right now. He claims that according to the FBI, if you solve this riddle, you're smart enough to become a special agent. So, a man and a woman go out to dinner on their first date. The evening is very hot, and they bring water with ice. The woman is terribly thirsty, and she drinks 3 glasses in 1 gulp. A man drinks 1 glass in small sips throughout the evening. Later, he writes to her that he suddenly became ill. Weakness, dizziness, breathing problems. At midnight, he passes away. The police call the woman in for questioning and announce that there was poison in her glass and in the man's glass. It was poison, so why did the man get poisoned and the woman not? I'm sure you already guessed the poison was in the ice. The woman drank so fast that the ice cubes had no time to melt, so the poison had no effect on her. The man drank slowly and the ice melted, so he swallowed poisonous water. I guess pretty much any Brightsider can become a special agent. Now, look at this picture. Keep in mind that it's not that simple and only 1% of people can figure out what's wrong with this image. Hey, look closer. The woman in the red dress on the right doesn't have an umbrella, but she doesn't get wet. 2 coins are worth 30 cents. One of them is not 5 cents. What are these coins? This one was easy. 25 cents and 5 cents. 1 coin is not 5 cents, but the second is 5 cents. Look at this picture closely, because the riddle is all about your attention. Now tell me, what time is in the picture? To make it a little bit easier, I'm going to give you a couple of options. A, it's 5 a.m. B, it's 11 a.m. C, it's 7 a.m. Take a look at the long shadows and the snow lying on the cars and the burning lanterns. Well, I guess it's 7 o'clock in the morning in the picture. Look at the picture. Do you spot anything weird here? The shipping deck seems to be way too slim. Seems like it was built after the ship had arrived at the port. Allison is quite a picky eater. She likes grapes, but she can't stand peaches. She's into squash, but she never eats carrots. So now you have to figure out what Allison prefers, pumpkins or apples. This girl may be finicky, but she does have some logic. She only eats things that grow on vines, so she's gonna prefer pumpkins over apples. There's a clerk at the butcher shop. He's 6 feet tall and he wears size 13 sneakers. What does he weigh? Of course, it's meat. There's a word in the English language in which the first 2 letters signify a male, the first 3 letters signify a female, the first 4 letters signify a great man, and the whole word means a great woman. Can you guess this word? It's the word heroine. A hen and a half lays an egg and a half in a day and a half. How many eggs does one hen lay in one day? Yeah, it's pretty hard to think of a hen and a half. As for an egg and a half, I can only imagine it in a cooked form. 1.5 days is the easiest criterion here. So, with all the given information, it must be that one hen would lay 1 egg in the same time period. 1.5 days. But if one hen lays 1 egg in 1.5 days, it means that one hen would lay only 2/3 of an egg in one day. So the answer is 2/3 of an egg. A young man wants to have it, but when he grows up, he no longer wants it. He attacks it with a blade in his hands, but it's always in vain. What is it? It's a beard. Hey, I've got a riddle rhyme for you. I'm rather large and usually majestic. I'm every hue of the rainbow. I can eat you. I may heat you. You only wish you could see me. What am I? It's a dragon. The last, but not the least. Get ready. This one's gonna be pretty long. Carl's 2 grandmothers want to see him every weekend, but they live on the opposite sides of town. Not to offend any of the grannies, he tells them that every Sunday he'll head to the subway station nearest to his apartment at a random time of the day and will hop on the next train that arrives. If it happens to be the train traveling north, he'll visit his grandma Erica uptown. And if it happens to be the train traveling south, he'll visit his grandma Liz downtown. Both of his grandmothers are okay with this plan, since they both know the northbound and southbound trains run every 20 minutes. But after a few months of doing this, Grandma Liz complains that she sees him only 1 out of 5 Sundays. Carl claims he chooses a random time each day. How can this be? Keep in mind that the trains always arrive at their scheduled times. Although both trains come exactly every 20 minutes, the timing matters a lot. Let's imagine the northbound train comes on the hour, on the 20, and on the 40. So at 8, 8:20, 8:40, 9, etc. Now let's suppose the southbound train comes on the 4, 24, and 44. So 8:04, 8:24, 8:44, 9:04, etc. This means in any hour, there will be only 12 minutes in which the southbound train will be the next train to arrive. So, if Carl arrives between 8 and 8:04, between 8:20 and 8:24, or between 8:40 and 8:44, he'll get on the southbound train. Otherwise, he'll get on the northbound train. But as Carl always comes at a random time, and the southbound train supposedly arrives after the northbound trains, Carl gets to see his grandma Liz pretty rarely.
Are you ready to challenge your visual memory? These puzzles will definitely make your brain sweat. Take a look at this picture and try to memorize each object. Okay, the time is up. Can you sort the extra object out? These scissors don't belong here. Let's make the task a little harder. Take your time to memorize these staplers. And now let's see if you can spot which object didn't appear in the initial picture. Option C is new. The next one, try to memorize these donuts. Great. I'm sure you remember them all by heart, and you'll have no problem sorting the odd one out. Option A doesn't belong here. Here comes the next set. Try to memorize all the details. Okay, which ice cream didn't appear in the initial picture? B. You'll need to stretch your photographic memory to the limits if you want to solve the next task. Here are 6 different burgers. Pay attention to all the details. You're going to need them later. And now let's take a look at these 9 pictures. Can you spot which of these burgers didn't appear in the initial picture? Ready to see the answer? B, D, and E. The next one. Try to memorize all 6 rings. Good. Can you sort the 3 extra rings out? Options A, C, and F don't belong here. Take a look at this picture and try to memorize each parrot. The time is up. Can you spot the parrots that were not present in the original picture? B, E, and F. And now let's go ahead and study the following images. Great job. I'm sure you remember every flower. Let's see if you can find them among these 20 flowers. 1, 7, 9, 15, 16, and 19. The next task is the same. Do your best to memorize all 6 mugs. Okay, can you spot them among this variety? Ready to see the correct answer? Here they are. How about a task change? Study these 6 objects very carefully. Ready? And now let's hide them and try to remember where this object was. Over here. Was it too easy? Let's complicate the puzzle a little. You have a few seconds to memorize these 10 objects. Great. Can you recall where this image was? It was here. And what if we increase the number of objects to 12? Ready to try? Can you spot this object's location? There it is. Here's the next group of objects. Try to memorize them all. And now let's hide them and swap their places. Can you restore the original sequence in which the objects were placed? Ready to see the answer? There you go. Ready to try again? Here's a group of objects. You know what to do. Let's see if you can restore the original sequence this time. Here's the correct order. Can you handle 8 objects? Let's check. Here's the initial sequence. Take your time to memorize it. All right. Let's rearrange the images. Can you bring them back to order? This is what the original sequence looked like. Anna arrives at an empty parking lot. Can you guess the number of the place where her car is parked? To make the task easier, we should turn the picture upside down. And now it's obvious that the correct answer is 87. Miranda is a very rich woman. She lives in a fancy circular mansion with diamond chandeliers in every room. She also has a diamond table, a movie theater room, a spa room, and a huge garage with 5 antique cars. But today Miranda is very upset. She has just found out that one of her cars is missing. She asks the butler, but he says he was making her bed. Miranda questions the maid and she says, "I was dusting corners." And the chef says, "I didn't touch your car. I was making breakfast." Who's lying? The maid. Miranda lives in a circular house, remember? So the maid couldn't be dusting corners. I can be cracked. I can be made. I can be told. I can be played. What am I? I'm a joke. Toby and Bobby decide to prank their English teacher. They succeed, but the teacher wants revenge. He detains them and takes the students to the basement. "Teacher, you'll stay here until you solve my riddle. Make one word from the following letters." Toby and Bobby spend 7 hours there, and finally, they solve the riddle. And the teacher lets them go. How did they do that? The answer is literally one word. Rose is riding a bike. Suddenly, someone throws a cup of strawberry milkshake in her face. She loses her balance and falls. Rose looks around, finds 3 suspects, and interrogates them. But each person swears to have nothing to do with the prank. Bianca says, "I was just doing my daily workout. I'm on a sugar-free diet, so I would never have bought this disgusting milkshake." Nick says, "I was reading a book and enjoying my own milkshake, but I like chocolate, not strawberry." And Lauren says, "I was just walking my dog and I didn't look at the road." Who's lying? Lauren, take a look at her bright purple lipstick. There's a similar mark on the cup that was thrown at Rose. Zelda finds a recipe in her granny's old cookbook, but unfortunately the last ingredient is encoded. Here's a hint to crack it. Although I may have eyes, I cannot see. I have a round face with lots of acne. What am I? Any idea what it might be? It's a potato. 4 criminals are planning to rob a bank. They agree to only take the gold bars. They return home and decide to divide the bar among themselves. Can you find a way to separate this shape into 4 equal parts? Here's the easiest way. Liam gets a spooky invitation to a Halloween party. He comes along and sees something creepy right away. All the guests are vampires except one. Can you spot a human? Take a closer look at the lady in a witchy costume. She's the only one who has round pupils like a normal human being. Someone stole the most expensive painting from the local art gallery. The police arrive at the crime scene and pull some fingerprints. They identify 3 different people. 2 of them are trusted employees of the gallery, but the 3rd fingerprint belongs to an unknown person who might be the robber. The detective suspects 4 criminals specializing in art thefts. He finds their fingerprints in his database and compares them with the ones from the crime scene. The detective identifies the robber right away. What about you? Can you guess who stole the painting? These fingerprints belong to the gallery employees. So here's the robber. Cherry and Sam spend their honeymoon at a fancy resort. Can you spot any mistakes in this place? The pool is frozen. Bob is having dinner and watching TV after work as usual. But can you spot anything odd in this picture? The mirror reflects a different TV program. There are 3 different yachts to choose from. Which one should Jake pick? The second yacht has no lifeboats or jackets. It's dangerous to sail like that. As for the third boat, there's a tied-up man on board, and this sailor is a ghost, so only the first yacht seems safe and reliable. Kendra, Stacy, and Monica are besties, but in fact one of them is a bad friend. Can you guess who? Monica. She left an ice cream stain on her friend's coat on purpose. Ryan wants to surprise his wife. He calls the local flower shop and orders a huge bouquet of daisies. An hour later, someone knocks on Ryan's door. He looks through the peephole first and says, "Oh wow, a fake delivery guy has arrived." How did he know? The delivery guy didn't know that Ryan had ordered daisies, and he brought roses instead. The next puzzle will test your visual memory. We're going to show you a couple of images. Try to memorize them as best you can. Alright, time is up. And now let's see if you can find the mug that you saw at the beginning. B. What about the ice cream? A. And finally, can you spot the original cat? Option D is correct. Here's the next set of images. You know what to do. Are you ready to spot the butterfly? Option C is correct. What about the gnome? D. Can you find the initial candle? B. And what about the comb? It's over here. And now try to memorize these images. Let's check if you can find the glove that you saw at the beginning. Option D is correct. What about the phone? It's over here. Can you find the original pencil? A. And what about the broccoli? It's over here. Can you spot the shoe? B. Nina's brother decides to prank her and changes a 6-letter password on her laptop. He leaves a little clue in Nina's room so that she could crack the code. Can you help her? To solve this riddle, we should take a look at the calendar on the wall. The marked dates imply a number sequence, 6, 12, 15, 24, 5, and 18. But the password should contain 6 letters, not numbers. We need to find the corresponding letter in the alphabet. 6 for F, 12 for L, 15 for O, and so on. And the final password is flower. Alex is going to the Moroccan desert. Alex decides to go explore the local market. He wanders around and a stranger approaches him. Stranger. Hey, mister. Would you like to buy these ancient statues? I found them in a tomb. They're thousands of years old. Alex gets very interested. He loves history. He takes a closer look at the statues and gets mad. Alex. Your statues are fake. How did he know? The first statue is holding a phone. The second has the hieroglyph of a bicycle. The third statue also can't be that old. Back then, no one knew what the Earth looked like. And the fourth statue is wearing sneakers. Busted. Robert is a professional thief. He knows that Mrs. Gold is hiding a diamond necklace in her safe. But now he fails to crack the required 8-number code. What about you? Let's take a closer look at the paintings. See these dominoes? It's a clue. They form the code 3, 2, 1, 5, 6, 1, 2, 4. Stephen is building a new house for his family. He's visiting the construction site to check how the builders are doing. Stephen finds out that someone has broken an expensive antique mirror. Only 3 people had access to the house. Stephen questions all of them. The supervisor says, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I went home earlier to get some rest." The interior designer says, "Yesterday the mirror was fine. I arrived here in the evening to take some pictures for my design project. See for yourself if you don't believe me." And the mover says, "I wasn't here yesterday. I spent the entire day at the construction supermarket. So I don't know who did it." Who's lying? The designer. There's a selfie among the pictures that she took yesterday. Take a look at her glasses. They reflect the opposite wall in the broken mirror. Busted.
Ren comes home after work. He lives with his girlfriend Maya, but she's absent, which is strange because she works from home. Ren finds this note on the fridge. After looking through the note, he calls the police and says, "Please come over. Someone kidnapped my girlfriend." How did he know? Maya left an encoded hint in this list of products. The number shows which letter you should take away from each word. I from fish, A from apple, M from watermelon, and so on. And finally, we'll get I am kidnapped. The police search Ren's apartment for clues. They find a fresh postcard from Maya's ex-boyfriend Frank among her documents. There's a weird poem on the back of the postcard. Frank is a literature teacher. He was always good at writing, and he couldn't make such mistakes. The officer reads the poem and realizes that Frank kidnapped Maya. How did he know? Take the first letter of each word and you'll get Maya is mine. The police decide to issue a search warrant, but Ren can't wait. He goes to Frank's house to save Maya. On the way, he sees these 3 people in the neighborhood. Can you spot who's suspicious? The blind guy. How would he use this common camera? Ren tries to open Frank's door, but it's locked. He has to enter a 6-number code. Can you help him? This picture is a hint. If we count all the points of intersection of the circles, we'll get the code 237640. Ren enters Frank's house and spots 3 odd details right away. Can you see them too? The carpet is flying. There's a boot boiling on the stove. Take a look at Maya's portrait on the wall. Her eyes are moving. Ren finds Maya in the basement. She looks scared. Frank pops out of nowhere and offers Ren a deal. "I'm gonna tell you 3 facts about Maya. If you manage to spot 1 lie, I'll let both of you go." Ren agrees. "Maya and I met at college. Snakes are her biggest phobia, and Maya was the first woman who I kissed." Can you help Ren spot 1 lie? Maya is wearing snake earrings. It's unlikely that she would wear them if the second fact was true. Frank tells Ren and Maya, "Okay, you can go now."
You can choose one of these 3 doors. There's 1,000 venomous snakes behind the first door. There's a maze with carnivorous mutant plants behind the second door. And there's a garden with the most poisonous berries in the world behind the third door. Which way should they choose? The third one. Nobody said that they have to eat the berries. Maya and Ren come home. Suddenly, a ball breaks their window. They look outside and see 5 teenagers playing basketball. One of them broke the window. Each makes 3 statements. 1 is false and 2 are true. Ken says,
I didn't do it. Jessica will tell who did it. One of us is in big trouble.
Love says,
Mia did it. I didn't do it. I don't even like to play basketball.
Victoria says,
I didn't do it. Mia and I are good friends. Jessica doesn't know who did it.
Mia says,
Love lied when she said I broke the window. I had never seen Victoria before today. I've never broken a window in my life.
And Jessica says,
I saw Mia break it. I didn't break the window. I want to go home.
Who broke the window? Mia's statements 1 and 3 must be true since each player told only one lie. Therefore, Mia's statement 2 is false. Now the words of all the other players can then be proven true or false using this information. Since we know that Mia's statement 2 is false, Jessica's statement 1 and Love's statement 1 have to be false. Ken's statement 2 has to be false, since Jessica didn't tell who did it. So now it's obvious that Victoria did it. Maya has 2 friends, Claire and Naomi. They're both beauty bloggers. One of them is a beginner, while another has 1 million followers. Can you guess who's more popular? Naomi has more subscribers. She has a 1 million gold award from YouTube hidden on her shelf. Also, take a look at Claire's phone. She's watching Naomi's video and repeats after her. Ren invites Maya on an unusual date. They go to a farm. He takes these 2 pictures. Can you see any difference between them? Here they are. Ren's landlord is selling his apartment, so he asks Ren and Maya to move out. Ren decides to take some extra job to raise his income so that they could afford to rent a cozy cabin in the woods. He's been working as a graphic designer all his life, but now he's open to new options. Can you help him find the most reliable offer on his wall? He doesn't have experience to become a firefighter, and the second offer is for ladies only. The remaining options are good, but only the job of a forester is ideal because it provides a free cabin, just what Ren wanted. Ren and Maya begin to pack their bags. Maya can't find these 3 items. Can you help her? Here they are. Maya and Ren are visiting the local farmer's market. Can you find a ghost among all these people? This lady with transparent legs. Finally, Ren and Maya arrived at their new cabin, but it's locked. They find this weird note on the door. Can you help them solve this mystery? Replace every letter in this note with the one after it in the alphabet, and we get key under rose pot. Ren, Maya, Rose, and Mike are best friends. They gather to celebrate Thanksgiving at the cabin. They agreed to buy gifts for each other. Ren buys a little statue. Maya buys a bottle of perfume. Mike buys a watch. And Rose buys a phone. The gifts were packed in identical boxes. Finally, the friends exchanged gifts. Everyone gets someone else's box. Mike got neither a statue nor perfume, and Rose got the watch. What did Ren get? Rose got the watch, so Mike could only get the phone. It means that Ren got the perfume and Maya got the statue. In the middle of the party, Ren goes to the toilet. He leaves his phone on a table. In a while, he returns and finds out that his phone is missing. Ren asks everyone just one question.
What did you do when I was in the toilet?
Rose says,
I was watching a movie in the living room. The story is so sweet.
Mike says, I was decorating the living room. I think I heard your phone vibrating, but I didn't bother. And Maya says,
I applied makeup in the bedroom. Do you like it?
Can you guess who stole the phone? It was Mike. Ren didn't mention that his phone was gone. Maya is having brunch in a cafeteria. She's the only customer. The waitress brings her food. Maya opens a pot with soup and sees a huge spider. But thankfully, it's a toy. One of these 3 cafeteria workers pranked Maya. Can you guess who? It's the guy on the left. He's the only one who doesn't hold a phone. His gadget is on the stand here, filming Maya's reaction.